The Florida Panthers, for the first time since 1996, are moving on to the second round in the NHL playoffs. The Big Cats have done it. Meow! The Florida Panthers, I got to admit, I was a kid when the last time they went through a round. They actually made it to the Stanley Cup final with Van Beesbrook. They had the coolest logo going on in sports with the pouncing cat. Colorado Avalanche were one of the hottest teams at the time, an absolute juggernaut, rolled them in 4. It has taken a long time, but the Big Cats have moved on and finally slayed their demons. What a great game. We're going to talk about it all. Florida fan, I want you to hang on because you are going to be absolutely jacked for this review. But first, before we talk about it, let's summarize what Coach Ryan D had to say about this series before it started. Only area Washington ends up checking the list for is going to be size. I think the injuries end up being a wash. I believe Ovi has a better chance to return than Ekblad, but both should return. So theoretically, Florida should win this series, but I actually think it's going to be dragged out way more than people think. I think this is a 6-gamer, and I think Florida may succumb to some bruises, maybe even an injury from the big bad Capitals. Golf clap, golf clap. Look, I'm going to get way more wrong than I get right anyway, but that's pretty cool. Florida in 6. And through all of our analysis, so if you've been on this channel, you've seen it all. You've seen my playoff predictions, my roster breakdowns, my analytical breakdowns of everything that we talked about before the playoffs start. Pretty good that we got that, eh? Florida's going to leave a little bit banged up. How about that massive hit on Ekblad from Ovechkin? I'm glad he ended up coming back, turned the game around with that pass to Claude Giroux, but I told you he'd leave with a few bruises. We said Florida in 6, even though people said Florida was going to roll because we went, of course, the Capitals are going to win a couple. They're big, they're physical, they're going to surprise some people. That's exactly what ended up happening. Great series by the Washington Capitals. They almost got through this one and pushed it to a game 7. This was a hyper competitive, hyper close series. It goes to show you the parity in the NHL, but a young team knocks off a veteran team here. This is the Capitals. I don't know what the Capitals are going to do after this. We'll make an entire video about the Capitals after this. Florida fan, you're probably the only one hanging around. Capitals fans, if you're taking a look at this recap, we appreciate you hanging around this channel. If you're going to continue watching the playoffs, that's awesome. Thank you. Stick with us. Be like Coach Ryan D, who's a Jets fan. Just enjoy good hockey. But if you got to go for the summer, we totally understand it. We'll see you later. We'll catch you next year, Caps fans. We like y'all. Bye. Now, you may be wondering, especially if you're new to this, why does he keep saying fan? We have the most amount of fans, plural, in the stands. Florida man equals Florida fan. And it will always be Florida fan, no matter how many of you comment down here trying to get me to go plural saying, I'm a Florida fan. Y'all like Megazord, y'all like Voltron. Megazord activated. If there's multiple of you, I'm still only counting you as one. You just kind of merge into one big unit. So it will always be Florida fan, but good job filling the stands. Stand down in the series because you were at some point. This was very nervous. Florida fan was sitting there going, my goodness, are we actually going to lose this series? And the panic is real. Look, for all of those who are outside of South Miami or South Florida, not from America. For all those of you outside the area or who aren't part of Florida fan, Voltron, Megazord combination supreme, they're just as panicked, if not worse than the Toronto Maple Leafs fans. So there are a lot of Maple Leafs fans. So we hear all about the pains of the first round not getting out, but Florida is just as bad. There are a lot of teams on a bad run. So just remember, when you think it could get worse, you could be the Vancouver Canucks. So shrug it off. Good one, right? Nick Dowd opens the scoring here for the Capitals. Things get a little bit nerve-wracking, but Ryan Lombard, of course it's Ryan Lombard. Who else would it be from Patrick Hornquist? Why wouldn't it be the 4th line for Florida, right? Everybody nailed that one, but that's the depth of Florida. Backstrom ends up responding in this one from Schultz and then Riemsdyk. And then you start wondering, how are things going to go? But Ekblad, who ends up returning back to the game after the explosion hit from Aleksander Ovechkin. And Ekblad's a huge dude, guys. So when he gets blown up, you know it's bad. He ends up bumping it out to Claude Giroux. Claude Giroux beats Samsonov. Weak goal by Samsonov. Samsonov's had a great run in the playoffs, Capitals fans. I said Vanacek is the better goalie. Samsonov ended up going in. Look, seems to have worked out. So all the goalie stats and underlying statistics of how the goalies play, Samsonov steps in and does better. Maybe this is him graduating on to becoming the starter. Goalies take some time. So really well done by Samsonov. Bad goal, though, on this one by Samsonov. Barkov, Giroux, and Verhaeghe after that. How do you guys feel about Verhaeghe still? Mr. Stickhandle, I want to know down below in the comments. But then at the end of the game, oh my goodness, you have to control your stick. You have to. You cannot take that penalty at the end of a game. Forsling, you're going to get the same amount of crap that I ended up giving to the Leafs when we said, oh, phantom high stick, double high stick. You got to control your stick. You can't trip guys and you can't high stick guys. As soon as you trip or high stick guys, automatic hand up. Doesn't matter what it's in. Doesn't matter if the playoffs. Got to control your stick. He doesn't do it. They end up going to the box. And then, of course, it's TJ Oshie. He's had a great playoffs. He ends up scoring from the great 8. And they move on into overtime, and Florida is panicked. But it's Carter Verhaeghe who ends up putting this one away. He's been the absolute hero for the Panthers this entire playoffs. We will never forget his 5-game performance. So Florida's moved on. I want to know down below, you want the Leafs or you want the Bolts? Let me know, because Game 7 goes on Saturday for that one, while Florida gets to sit back and relax. Speaking of sitting back and relaxing, why don't you help Coach Ryan D relax by helping continue to grow his channel? I obsessively sit there and look and go, how am I doing? How am I doing? How am I doing? Because I put a lot of work into this YouTube channel, blood, sweat, tears. You know how you can help? Thumbs up, subscribe, comment. That's how you can help. And if you want a thumbs down, do it too. I don't really care. Any thumb, any direction works for me. Press a button down there. Ding, 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 ding. Just push a button. Any button works. But we would definitely prefer the thumbs up. We want to give you guys good content. So if you also want to jump into the Coach's Staff is a monthly membership option. It's down below. YouTube's added this new. It's very similar to what's going on in Twitch and Patreon. You getting an OnlyFans account? You know that's coming in the comments. May as well get in front of it. No, YouTube has joined part of that. So if you want to go ahead and sponsor, be part of the Coach's Staff. If you really like the content, there are a lot of really cool benefits to it that you can read down below. And if you want a one-time support, we also have a super thanks down below. YouTube's changing. This place is banana sandwich. So many new features. Thank you to all of you for helping us out with that. But hey, free comments, free thumbs up. Just watching this video goes a super long way. We love all of you. The content always going to be free on this channel. So fun fact for all of you, I have a few buddies who played in the show or currently play in the show. Shocker, I know I'm not there. But the fun thing that they told me is that the most dangerous player, hardest hitter, scariest guy to play against, they didn't say the dirtiest, they say dangerous, they mean when he hits you clean it hurts, is Aleksander Ovechkin. There is no bigger Mack truck in the NHL when he hits you than Ovechkin. Speed plus size equals explosion. We all know Aaron Ekblad is a big boy, but this hit to start off the game is just punishing. Take a look at this. We slow it down just before he gets absolutely dummied, and he is gone. Ekblad's a monster. Ovechkin throws him around like he's an absolute child. That results in Mr. Aaron Ekblad just limping over the bench to his buddy Sherratt with his hand on his back going, "Don't worry, buddy. It'll be okay. We'll beat him in overtime, and you'll pass the puck to Claude Giroux to make sure we get there." Face-off theory off the draw. You see the Washington Capitals player follow around with the Florida Panthers player on what we call the high-low, right? So there's one player that's going to end up going low. There's one player that goes high. I love that the Caps player ends up sticking with him. The Washington player who stayed on the hash here ends up busting through the middle and picking up that 50-50 puck. That 50-50 puck ends up allowing Washington to score this first goal. Remember, so many goals come off faceoffs. We've been down this a time or two now that we're heading into a billion game 7s. Haven't we, Caps and Florida fans and fans of Hot Garbage Sports? So great faceoffs at all ends of the ice score goals. You can see Washington's able to initiate a fast break here. We end up with a 3-on-2. This is not what you want to do. You do not want to be cutting in. This is a 3-on-2. You want to back up and contain. Always contain when it's odd men. When it's even men or you outnumber them, then you pressure and go forward. But nope, ends up sticking it in. You think that would be good? It is not, because it allows the Capitals player to end up getting around, and now you've created a 2-on-1 on this chip. Now, I wish Washington would have done more with it than dump it in the zone, but they dump it in the zone, and this ends up leading to that goal. Very simple forecheck where the Capitals players end up on their path, and because it is a 2-on-1, that dump in allows them to have the late man who is trailing, who started the original dump in, to be open for the goal nicked out. Once again, zone entries cause goals. Zone entry here, you actually end up getting too aggressive, so both players end up taking a bad path here. One player has to stay back, one player has to pressure. You, my friend, also need to be in proper defensive zone skating stance, and you're not. You're gliding, doing nothing. Post turtle, we call you. Because of the over-aggressive forecheck and the post turtle, it ends up turning into a 2-on-1. Hey, look, we have a defenseman sliding again. We love defensemen that slide on this channel. No, we don't. We never like it. Once you're down and out, you can't recover. You have no opportunity. So a 3-on-2 becomes a 2-on-0 because these back checkers are nowhere near anybody. And look at our post turtle. Our post turtle with poor skating now knows he's burnt and he's in my favorite position, which is the reach position. And while you're reaching, only two things are going to happen: nothing or a penalty. Turns out on this one, it's nothing as Samsonov makes the save and an unfortunate rebound kicks out for the late man that Washington also doesn't pick up. That's GG's on goal one and terrible, absolutely terrible zone defense by all five Capitals. What is a post turtle, you may ask? It's a turtle on a post. Why do we call him a post turtle, you may ask? Because we have no idea why the turtle's on the post and he's useless to everybody on the post and he can't get himself off the post. So those who don't back check and who glide are as useful as a post turtle. Backstrom ends up putting a beautiful tip in here. It is a simple D to D. Bobrovsky can see this puck fully. You can see it. So yes, he crosses the Royal Road. No, the screen doesn't mean anything. As that puck ends up coming in, we've been picking on this all playoffs. This is horrible man-on-man D zone in front of the net. You have to get in front. You have to tie a man up. You cannot allow these sticks to sit out there. We have seen Oshie make tips like this. We have seen 100 examples of this throughout the entire NHL playoffs. I've broken them all down for you. Bobrovsky has no chance on this. All players in the NHL are way too good at picking pucks clean out of the air. Defensemen tactically really need to give their head a shake. The amount of times I have had to point out that the people are cross-checking, stick pressing, and not tying up and not lifting sticks in front of the net is actually getting gross. You're not supposed to be cross-checking anyway. It's a penalty. They're supposed to be watching it. Stick pressing does nothing. Skating beside your man does nothing. Battling really hard does nothing. You want to control the man. You want to control his stick. His stick is his weapon. What is he going to do without a stick? Tie him up in front of the net, clear him out, move him out. These are simple tactics that we work on from age 12 up, but I'm just seeing a lot of mistakes by NHL defensemen in the first round of the playoffs this year, in front of the net specifically. Activating defensemen. We love activating defensemen. Here's Aaron Ekblad. He's about to activate. The puck ends up bouncing through the Washington player. Ekblad is doing something intelligent here. He always does something intelligent. He's super elite. Ekblad is between the puck and the man. That's good, but he is in a position that he can play defense and pivot backwards if required, and he's in a position to go forward if he needs to. What you will notice is that Ekblad doesn't jump in the play to score goals. Why do we call him an activating defenseman? Because as soon as the puck turns over and you have 100% assurance, one, that the puck has left the zone, two, that your team has control of it, you are going to bust up with 5 hard strides as hard as you can and join the play and pretend to be a forward. All defensemen need to be able to do this. You need to always add a fourth defenseman to the forwards. That's why we call it 4 up. You see that puck sneak out and Aaron Ekblad waits until there's full control of that puck. Soon as there's full control of that puck, activate, baby. He ends up out skating Washington, picks up that puck, and now we've got what we call 4 up. This happens to be a 3-on-2. The Capitals have to back into the zone here now. There's nothing else they can do. You got to back in when it's an odd man rush. This is 3 players on 2. They don't count because they're on the back check. They won't count until you end up tying up the men in the middle of the ice. You'll see a good reason why they don't count here, because Ekblad's able to bump it out to Giroux, and both of those back checkers are absolutely useless at this point in time. And back checkers aren't useless. They didn't do anything wrong. The defensemen have to back up and wait for help, but that help doesn't come unless the rushing team fumbles, delays, or does something to allow the back checkers to catch up, which Florida never did, which Aaron Ekblad never did, which is why straight lines work in hockey, which is why we talk about a north-south game. Then you bump it out east-west when you need to score. That's exactly what we saw. Giroux ends up putting it in. We've already said that was a weak goal on Samsonov's part. Beautiful save right here by Bobby, but I'm not here to show you the save by Bobby. I'm going to show you how you clear somebody out of the front of the net. Why does it take a forward to show defensemen how to clear someone from the front of the net? That's what you do. Put the man on his ass. Do not allow rebounds. Do not be waving at pucks. Just bury him. Beautiful play here by Verhaeghe to go from below the goal line up top to the defenseman. I love what happens here. You can see Samsonov is struggling to find the puck, but he does a great job getting down into his butterfly and finding and tracking it. Now let's take a look at everything we've been talking about all game. Let's watch the Washington defense, and Washington fans and Florida fan, why don't you tell me down below in the comments how many times they miss, they cross-check, and they don't tie up sticks? Florida just powers through them, and Barkov ends up burying it because you're doing what? Puck watching. Now, by the rules, you are not allowed to hit a man unless he has possession of the puck. That's why you end up puck watching, but that really only applies outside of the front of the net. The front of the net, you get a lot of liberties to take when it comes to body contact. So if there's a scrum in front of the net, you can likely wholesale a guy as long as the puck is somewhere in or around his feet. Sure, there could be a penalty. One, it's the playoffs. I haven't ever seen one called, and even in all these games, with all the giant amount of penalties that are being called in these games, that call has not been made. I know I've watched every game. So go ahead, use the body, get him out of there. You might be saying, by the rules, I'm wrong, but by the culture of the game, I'm right. Washington power play here. Big shot from the top. Aleksander Ovechkin is the guy you'd be looking for on this shot, but not anymore because TJ Oshie is going to go ahead, pick this out of the air twice, 1, 2, and they end up scoring. What a goal. We're going to overtime. Keep your stick to yourself. Don't trip them. Blown individual defensive assignments all over the ice today. Why does Verhaeghe end up scoring? Another post hurdle caught on the wrong side of the puck. You need to be able to stick with your man. I understand you're the winger. I understand you're high, but you need to get on the right side of the puck, which means to be between Verhaeghe and the net. You're useless on the other side. Players who play on the wrong side of the puck end up causing goals. You can see Verhaeghe sneaking in there. There is no chance. Look at the distance he's put between him and that back checker. He ends up in front, kicks it out off the backhand and scores. That is pure skill. Unbelievable play by Verhaeghe. Terrible, terrible defense by Washington. Cost them the series. There's a lot of opinions there about what could have cost the series, but at the end of the day, I'm going to attribute it to one-on-one battles between Florida and the Washington Capitals today. The Washington Capitals just didn't do good enough in one-on-one battles all over the ice. We had guys not back-checking like they should. We had guys not tightening up on their D assignments as they should. And you might say, look, coach, they had a really good series. Don't be so mean. Don't be so hard on them. I'm proud of my Capitals. I'm proud of them too. I think they did great. But you want to win a cup, you got to do all the little things right. And you know that better than anybody, Washington. You have a very recent Stanley Cup. So it's disappointing that you see a team of veterans there that ends up giving up and losing on some of those one-on-one battles. But sometimes that is just the battle of skill versus will. Florida Panthers had the skill. Turns out they also had the will. Way to go, Florida fan.